Good morning, BookTube. Sunday morning. Um, Sunny, bright day here in Vermont. Cold. I'm out in the grotto here, and I got a heater going. Thought I'd talk about a book I just finished and some of the things I'm doing, so it's sort of a Sunday chat. It'll be a brief discussion about a book, but not really a full review or anything. So, winter's setting in. Um, or it's on its way anyway. And today's a big day. Um, so, over the last couple months, I've been part of a group that is putting on a play. And it's an original play. And it's called We Most Ardently Desire. It's written by a local historical archivist, Patty Harrison. And we'll be in period costume for the year it takes place is 1775, and it's about the association pledge that we had in my town here in Vermont about whether we were going to support the Continental Congress or not. So, Lexington and Concord have already happened. And it's a very rural area, even back then. Well, back then for sure, and it still is. And the characters are all historic characters from here in our town, and I play one of them. So, tonight is the play. So it'll be very exciting. I hope it goes well. Um, we'll see. And my daughter's in it with me too. So great fun there. A little bit of coffee. And tomorrow I drive to Maine, state of Maine, to pick up my mother, who's coming back here. She spent some weeks up at her camp. And she'll be here for the winter. As far as the grotto, this little room goes, in a couple, I think about 6 weeks, I'm getting it's on a porch. There's a room on each side of a front porch with pillars. So underneath this floor, it's just like 6 feet to the ground. So we use it to store stuff underneath and stuff. But I'm getting it spray foamed underneath the grotto and underneath the other room to insulate it. So hopefully I'll be out here this winter. Usually in the winter I don't spend much time out here. I'm inside. So that's most of the news from around here. The book I just finished is an old one, an old favorite. I actually read this. I think it was Time. I think it was Time magazine. I could be wrong. They did these sort of smallish trade paperbacks. They're famous for having these really tight glued covers that notoriously came off. But one of those volumes when I first read this, and I haven't read it in 30 or 40 years, and it's this. Maritime History of Massachusetts, 1785 to 1860, so right before the Civil War. A period from, establishment of the maritime history and to right before the Civil War. And it's Samuel Eliot Morison, who's one of my favorite historians. And there he is as a very young man. When was this published? 1941. And it's a fascinating account. Covers, military, merchant, and fishing vessels, all the way up to the, Donald McKay clipper ships, Flying Cloud, and all those. Talks about like the impact of tariffs, embargoes, War of 1812. Talks about the Federalists as a party who were concerned with merchant affairs. Talks about Canada, of course, the trade routes to the Pacific Northwest for fur seals, and then eventually it all culminates in the gold rush, right? That's what the big clippers were involved with. You wanted to get to California either overland or by sea. I mean, people did both. But rounding Cape Horn and the sailing vessel, all the adventure and excitement of that. It's a very well written book. It covers a lot of ground, as you would imagine. It is written in a style. So this is 41. This is obviously World War II era. Morrison went on to write a lot of books. He did a big, U.S. naval operations in World War II series, which I've got maybe half of. I don't even know how many volumes in there. Must be 20, must be maybe more. Somebody can tell me. I usually know it, but it's a problem with getting old. I've read a few of them. I want to get the rest of them because I've got gaps. He wrote a biography of Christopher Columbus, which is quite good, which I haven't. I've read. He wrote about the European discovery of the Americas in 2 volumes, the Southern Voyages and the Northern Voyages, both of which are wonderful. Wrote a biography of Matthew Perry, who opened up Japan to American trade, called Old Bruin, which was fantastic. Oh, what else? He wrote a history of Mount Desert Island off the coast of Maine, where I've spent many of my summers and where he did too. Still in print after all these years. Let's see. And, I know there's some of it. He actually wrote a brief corporate history of a rope company that I read and actually liked. I can't remember the title. John Paul Jones. Excuse me. That John Paul Jones, the American Revolutionary War naval fighting captain, he wrote a biography of him because Jones had been mythologized to such a degree that Samuel L. Morrison's biography was a bit of a corrective. Of course, that correction has gone on since, but a wonderful biography too. So it's a good. Excuse me. Yeah, the coffee will help. The Morrison was a good historian. I did read. I think it was a full-length biography of Edward Rowe Snow, who's a New England maritime historian, but of a more popular nature. Does say he encountered Mr. Morrison once, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. I think Samuel Morrison was your typical Harvard. Oh yeah, he wrote a history of Harvard too. Your typical, what we would think of as mid-20th century Harvard highbrow who didn't have much use for other folks. Great sailor, yachtsman, and all that. So yeah, I really enjoy it. If you're in maritime histories, then it's worth your while. If you're not, it might be a bit dry. So anyway, but yep, I gotta get ready for my play tonight, and then my trip tomorrow. But I thought I'd stop in and see how everybody was doing. Been watching a lot of BookTube lately for a change. I haven't had the chance to do that much, and there's a lot of new BookTubers that I'm sitting down watching and starting to enjoy. I'm glad to find I need to make comments on their channels. I'm not very good at that lately, but I'll get back to it, and I hope you're all doing well. So thank you, BookTube.